Your slow marketing sucks because of your mentality, how you think. You are concentrating more effort in building the product instead of selling it. You are building to sell instead of selling to build. You will fail. You're welcome to this video, and we're talking about why every sort of founder must think like a marketer. Even before building the product, writing the first code, ask yourself, how would a marketer think? A marketer will ask the who, why, what, and how questions. And here are the myths most of founders have about their product. Number one, build it. As long as the product is good, users will come. Just be ready for the real shop of your life. Number two, as long as my app has beautiful UI and we're using the best tech stack, then users are going to pay to use our product. My dear, you'll be shocked. People don't buy because your product is great. They buy because your product is solving an actual pain point for them, and the UI might not be that pain point. Number three, thinking that users will go hand over your product whenever you launch. My dear, if you don't have markets and distribution, nobody cares that much about you. Here are the three phases in product development that describe the mind of a marketer that as a founder you should have. Number one, which is the idea stage. This is where you conceive the idea of the product that you are about to build. Number two, this is the launch phase. This is where you now say, okay, we're about to launch, we are now live, you guys should come and start using our product, right? Number three, this is where you already live, but you want to start growing from point A to point B and so on and so forth. As long as that particular startup or that product exists, you will either be in any of these three phases. Now, one of the mistakes most founders make is that they wait to the point where they've launched to start marketing. By the time you wait to when you launch to start marketing, you're already late and you're about to actually fail as a startup founder. And the truth is 90% of founders fail because they start to market after they have launched. And you don't want to be part of that 90%. What then should you do? The moment you conceive an idea that you are going to build a startup around, that is when you should start to market. And this is what you should be doing even before you write the first line of code. Number one, ask yourself the who question. Under the idea stage, remember, at this particular point, you've not started coding, you've not started designing anything on Figma, you just have an idea. That is where marketing should start. Then what should you be marketing then? Asking yourself this question, who will I be building this idea for? Right? You want to ask yourself, their job titles or profession. Now, this is where you can now say we are bidding for freelancers, we are bidding for creators, we are bidding for online vendors, we are bidding for real estate agents or real estate realtors and so on and so forth, right? Then you want to put down there. For example, now right here, I can now say this is my user group, right? I'm bidding for creators, right? Or I'm bidding for remote workers. Whosoever you're bidding for, this is where you actually want to write it down. Then once you answer that question, the next question is location. Where can they be found? Where can they be found? Let me create this type here. Where can they be found? Now, this could be on LinkedIn. This could be physically. For example, if you're bidding for local businesses that belongs to cooperatives, right? They might not be found online, might be found on WhatsApp groups. Or if you're bidding for fashion designers, this is where you list where they can be found. Communities where you can find them. If it's physical communities, if it's online communities, if it's an online platform like Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, X, LinkedIn, where these projects are actually gathered, right? The last but not the least, you want to list the things that they are interested in. Remember, their interest here is not your business. For example, if I'm bidding for creators, I can now say that, okay, my job title or profession is for creators. Then the location, I can find creators on Instagram. I can find creators on TikTok. Then the interest, creators are interested in creating content. Creators are interested in trends, online trends, social media trends. Creators are also interested in monetization, how to monetize their income. This will have so many things that they might be interested. Creators might be interested in fashion. Some creators are interested in music. Some people are interested in culture. So this is where you write all of the interests about this particular people that you are building. Remember, you are doing this even when you are still at the idea stage. Now, the next thing you want to ask yourself is why, right? Why should these people buy into your idea? Why should they buy? Now, this is the question you want to ask yourself. You want to ask yourself, okay, why should they need you? Why should they pay for it? Now, why should they pay for it? You want to answer two questions. The pain points. Now, this is not just any kind of pain points. You cannot say that creators are finding it difficult to create content, you want to say something that creators are willing to pay for. For example, productivity tools, editing tools. Creators pay for CapCut subscription. They pay for tools that will help them monetize their audience. Why would creator pay you money? You want to write it there. So if you're building for online vendors, you want to ask, why would they pay for your inventory system that you are building? Why would they pay for your online invoicing system that you're building? If you're building for, probably you're building a fintech, you want to ask them, you want to ask yourself, why will remote workers or freelancer care about your own virtual cards? Why? So you want to enter that pain point here. The next thing you want to do now is the desired result or outcome. And this is where you want to ask yourself, where do they want to be as a remote worker? I want to be that kind of person that makes $5,000 every month from working from home, probably from Nigeria, from Africa, from any country that you're watching this particular video, right? What that desired outcome? For creators, desired outcome for creators is to have sustainable income, consistent income, predictable income, right? So you want to write it down there, right? If it is for online vendors, they want to have constant sales. That could be their desired outcome, their desired result. You want to write it down there, right? So who are you building for? Are you building for Africans in diaspora to use your fintech application to send money back home? What is their desired income? You want to write it down there. If you're building a real estate code, right, for landlord, what is their desired outcome? If you're building for tenants, what are the desired outcome? You want to write it down there. Remember, we are still at the idea stage. Then after you've done that, the next thing you want to ask yourself is how, right? How are you going to get them to move to their desired outcome? Now, I'm a freelancer where I currently make probably $100, and with your product, I can be making $5,000. How are you going to move me from where I'm not using your product to where I'm not using your product to achieve my desired outcome? Remember, it is because of the desired outcome that they so desire. That is the reason why they are going to pay you to solve their pain point. And that's the reason why you need to answer this question without bias, putting yourself in the shoes of this user group that you're about to target or start to build this particular idea for. But the first question you want to ask yourself is the process, the vehicle to move them to their desired outcome, which is the how, should be number one, the setup of product. If that idea is not the vehicle, then you don't have any tangible idea that you should be building actually. So my point here is your idea should be the how. Your product should be the how. Your website should be the how. Your startup should be the how, because your startup is not the solution, but the process in achieving the solution. The features of the solution of your product is actually the how. The pricing, because how are they going to get to the outcome? They're going to pay you $10 every month to actually get to that particular desired outcome. So that is the how. The acquisition funnel, or some marketers will say sales funnel, the sales funnel, your user acquisition funnel. How are you going to move them from where they don't know about your product to where they know about your product to where they're now using your product to achieve their desired outcome? So that is your how. We need to answer all of these questions. Then last but not the least, not the idea stage, you need to answer the what. Now, what is how, in what way do you want to present the how to them? In what way? Remember, the how is your product, the how is your startup. So in what way do you want to present your startup to this particular target audience, which is the who? The first one is identity. Do you want to present your startup or your startup brand as a top leader, or as a researcher, or as an inspiring brand, or as a teacher, or as a motivational brand? Now, this is something that you're going to ask yourself even before you design the first prototype. You write the first line of code. These are the questions you should be asking yourself, right? How do I want my brand to appear to people? In what way? They want to be a thought leader. If you want to be a thought leader, they should be ready to actually present challenging thoughts and hold challenging conversation, because all of these things will be necessary in the next phase of marketing. Now, do you want to come up as a researcher? A researcher is somebody that goes into the market, pick several tools, analyze data, and present the results of their data, and their audience will be attracted that, and they might want to use your product. Do you want to come up as an inspiring brand? That's fine. Just choose one of this and write it down as your identity. The next thing now is, what community will I use, or what community am I going to build? I want to answer that particular question. So if you're going to be building a community, then you should write it down. Then I'm going to create a community for my startup. The third one is, what context, right, will I be creating? Remember, if you choose the identity of a thought leader, you want to start creating content for your stock or for your idea that gives you or that position you as a thought leader in that particular industry to attract your who. If it's a researcher, you want to create content around that. If you want to be if you want to create a brand that is inspiring or motivational, you want to create content around that. And if you want to be a teacher, you want to create content that educates. Mostly all of this how-to kind of content, right? Choose your identity. As I said, what community do you want to use? Is it emailing? Is it WhatsApp? Is it Telegram? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it X? That's another question. And what content will I be dishing out there? Will I be creating video content, long-form content on YouTube, short-form content on Instagram, and so on and so forth? Or will I be writing articles? Ask yourself. The moment you've done all of these things, that is you thinking like a marketer. Remember, you have this idea. You don't want to jump into Figma and start designing the UI. No. You don't want to hire a developer and start coding. No. These are the things that you need to do, because now you are thinking like a marketer. You're not thinking like the regular founder. And that is the reason why 90% of founders fail and they suck and their marketing sucks, because they don't ask themselves this question. Now, the second phase is the launch phase. Now, the moment you start building, the moment you start designing, remember you have all of these things now. Now, slowly as your developers are building the code, writing the code, developing the product, your designers are designing the UI and so on and so forth, right? You already have answers to these things, right? Now you can now start building your community. You're already gathering your army, gathering your audience, becoming a known figure, or the brand itself is already getting known, even though your product is not ready yet. And this is what you are doing at the idea stage, even at the stage where you are building it. Now, when you guys are now close to launch or close to go live, this is where many founders get it wrong as well. They say that we've gone live, therefore we've launched. Who told you? My guy, you've not launched. What you just did is that you just went live. You did not launch, you went live. So going live does not mean that you've launched, right? So let's correct that particular notion, right? So at the launch phase, the first thing you want to do is to build momentum, right? You want to build momentum. What is momentum? That high energy, that adrenaline rush towards your product. That is what you want to do, right? And you do these things using these 4 ways, right? Number 1, content. You want to create content around your why. Create content around your who and present yourself using your words, right? Create content around that particular part, right? Generate traffic towards a community, towards a sales funnel. Generate traffic towards an emailing list, right? Build that particular momentum. Now use repetition, because repetition allows you to have impression. And whenever whoever they see over and over again, they begin to trust you even before your product goes live, even before you launch. Now you need to be consistent at this. This is not something that you create one banner design today and the next 1 month, or you only create banner design every new month to wish people a happy new month, happy new month, happy new month, or in any holiday or the other. No. You want to be constantly showing up where your audience are gathering. Are they gathering in a physical location? Show up there. Are they gathering one event? Sponsor that event even before you go live, right? You want to be known even before your product goes live. And that's what you want to do. You want to build momentum before you launch. Now, you will not successfully launch until you have what we call the timeline, or I just put it down here as time. And you want to do this thing by using 3 ways. I call it, the first one is what? Duration. You want to have a duration. Let's say a 3-month launch campaign. So, let me correct this, I will say campaign duration. Let's add it here. Campaign duration. So you want to have a campaign duration. It could be 3 months. Like in that 3 months, what you are doing is that you are building momentum towards your launch. Now you don't need to have a high launch budget. You can even do this online with $0. You can launch, right? Build momentum. Create series of content, push that adrenaline rush out there, create an offer, use that to have a campaign duration. I will always recommend a 3-month campaign duration. 3 months where you are creating content, creating webinar, online events, showing up, and driving that particular adrenaline towards your product. And the second thing you want to do here is you want to be able to make use of countdown. What countdown does that? It creates urgency. 1 week towards our launch, 2 weeks to our launch, 3 days, 1 day. Whoop, that's the D-Day. And now we'll lead us to the last but not the least here, which is what? The D-Day. So this is where all of the campaign duration, the countdown we've done, down moves to a particular D-Day. And the launch day must not be a physical event where you spend a lot of money. You can launch online, you can launch via Google Meet, you can launch via Zoom, You can launch anywhere and you can repeat your launch over and over and over again, right? So don't make the mistake that 90% of founders make by saying that we've gone live and that means we have launched. Now, under launch again, what you want to also do is having an offer. Now, you don't just want to launch without an offer. Over 90% of founders, they made this mistake. They launch without an offer and ask them, so why should people build a momentum? Why should people care about your launch if you don't have an offer? What is an offer? An offer is a special thing that you are giving your target audience that they will not normally have with you, if not for that particular thing that is happening in that particular point in time. An offer can be a discount offer, right? A discount offer, right? That's why I said pricing here. This is pricing or a discount offer. Probably on a regular day, your product is probably $10. But because you are planning a launch, you cannot give a discount offer and say, during this launch period, you are getting in just $5. People want to get in because of that. Now, you now have something to market, to build momentum around. The second thing here is access. Now, if you want to use pricing for your launch or for your offer, you can give special access. You can give one-on-one access, right? So instead of them being in the outer court doing your launch, you can say, we're going to give you guys one-on-one support, handmade support, or a personal account manager to help you on board fully as you are launching to start to use our product while we launch. So you can give them access. The last but not the least is what? Support. You can give them a targeted support or a private support, right? Which is also similar to access. So you want to create an offer around your launch, build momentum, and remember, I feel that what it has time. Now, so what I'm trying to say is that a perfect launch will have these three components: momentum, time, and an offer, right? And a perfect idea should have this clarity: who, why, how, and what. Now, let's move on to the third phase. Now, the third phase is growth. Now, this phase is you've launched, your product is live, probably you had your first one customer, your first one user, your first 10 users, and so on and so forth. And then you're asking yourself, Samuel, how do I move from having 10 users to 1,000 users? Or how do I move from having 1,000 users to 1 million users? Every product will get to this point where they want to grow. These are the three things you want to ask yourself, the three components of growth. You can restart the momentum. Remember the momentum during the pre-launch and launch phase. You can build a momentum around a new feature. Again, that's okay. Look, we've launched now because of you are releasing a new feature. Let's launch that particular new feature to now start a renewed momentum. Remember, for you to renew this particular momentum, you need to start another series of content, form of traffic generation, repetition, and consistency again, right? Around that new feature or around that new offer. So you can rebuild a new momentum around a new feature or around a new offer. The next thing you want to do again, you want to relaunch. Just as I said, once you have a renewed momentum, that means you can relaunch again, right? You can even relaunch after 2 years. You can say, we are launching our V2, we are launching our V3, we are launching our V4, our fourth version. We are launching in Nigeria, we're launching in Ghana, we're launching in South Africa. We use that opportunity to rebuild momentum. Again, last but not the least, you can increase capacity. What do you mean by increase capacity? That means you can scale horizontally or vertically around that particular industry. This is where Amazon said we are moving from just book to become everything store. We are moving from just offering one particular service to offering 2 services, to offering 3 services, to having 4 features, 5 features, 10 features. Now the thing is, in your early stage, you don't want to launch with more than 1 or 2 features. Or now we can have more features. You can expand into new markets. We use that particular opportunity to scale and to grow. When you are doing this, you are not beginning to sell, which is where most people make mistakes. They build and then start selling. What you are doing with this strategy is you are selling to build. So you sell, you know what the market wants from you, then you rush and go and build it. So by the time you're done building it, you're already sure that the market is really waiting for you. So you're not waiting, you're not building and taking it to the market for the market to reject it. You are going to the market, immediately you have the idea, then you now know what the market wants from you, then you now build to satisfy the market. By so doing, you are now having the mindset of a marketer, not the mindset of the regular founder. And this is how you win. If you want me to give you this presentation I just used, right, go in the comment section in this YouTube video, right, comment the mindset of a marketer, and I'm going to set this name of all of these stuffs to you guys, right? So go ahead and drop a comment, and don't forget to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. I have a community of startup founders that are growing steadily on a monthly basis. And I'm opening an inner circle where all you have to do is to join this particular inner circle. I'll be talking about marketing for startup founders. If you're interested, check the description of this particular video and have a link to join us inside our inner circle. Now, it is not free to join. It costs about 150,000 naira to join. If you're interested, check the description of this particular video, join this particular inner circle.